Mario.
Hey, Matt.
How are you, man?
Tired.
Me too. I didn't sleep enough. I was up late doing nerdy things because it was fun. Um, I have something we can add to the agenda, perhaps. If there's time, I'm almost done with it. It's just, about to drop it into notes. It's a markdown overview of all of the initiatives that I
Yeah.
and others have created related to our tag. So if we wanted to, I wrote a lot of them. So I could do like a lightning round, no more than 15 seconds per issue or something like that, just so that we can give the community a snapshot of things that they can join that are already defined, but
Yeah.
but not yet resourced. My hope is that we can launch some of these initiatives in parallel with the community's help, right? So we can.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of doing that. I've also been following the AI conformance thread on the Kubernetes list. Um, well done. That's looking great. It's been a lot. I can tell just from the email, I can imagine what's gone in to getting it this far. So congrats on that. Hi, Raphael.
I wait, or I will, the only point where I will acknowledge anything that it worked out will be if we have in Atlanta a working AI conformance in some way.
Yeah.
Before this, everything is in a limbo. All right.
Hey, curious, as this is still a new microphone, is my keyboard, my mechanical keyboard that's old and loud when I'm typing, is it like being picked up? This microphone has these different settings for like how much,
Type?
Spectrum.
Can you
yeah, like
type?
omnidirectional versus focused and somewhere in between. And so when I'm typing, is it like,
I haven't paid attention on this, so I think that's a good thing, huh?
yeah, yeah.
And
So Mario, in the meeting, I'll go last, or if you want to leave 5 minutes or something, that way I can have it all prepared. I meant to do this last night and I got distracted by some changes that I'm proposing to this library called PyAhokorasic. It's the algorithm behind grep that lets you search for a whole bunch of strings in one pass through data. And so I was modifying some old C libraries that it's implemented in, and even. Are we waiting for quorum?
yeah, I would, because people wrote that they cannot get into the meeting. We are quickly waiting on them.
The fast path for them to get into it would be to invite. They need to send themselves an invite and then they can get in.
I mean, we post the password. The meeting is private.
Like they won't see it on their calendar if they don't sign up for it.
Wait a second.
But I thought with the link they should be able to get in directly.
I was under the impression as well. Let me check. The problem is, I think the problem is it's because it's tied to the mailing list. It's public. It's we can. Let's do this. I changed it to. I removed the restriction. Does it now get a new link? Nobody knows. Can you try again? I removed. All right. Let's wait 1 more minute, and it's 5 after 6, and then let's 5 after 4 p.m. UTC time zones. And then we can get started. That's 5.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
I should say, Elalita Sharma sends her regards. She's actually on a plane now.
Ah, good. All right, then. Let me pull up the notes. I had the notes. All right. So, hello and welcome everyone to the first edition of the Tech Operational Resilience bi-weekly meeting. Today is July the 16th, 2025. This is our first public meeting. And I'm not prepared. We follow the code of conduct of the Cloud Native Foundation, which in short basically means be nice and excellent to your fellow speakers and attendees. We have a notes document that you can find in the link that I posted into the chat. This is currently run on a CodiMD instance hosted by the CNCF. It's a public document. If you are a member of the CNCF organization, you can also log in. Otherwise, you can also join the notes document in there. Please add yourself as a attendee. And I will create a list there.
I can take care of this. Don't worry.
All right. So this is our first meeting. Hello and welcome everyone. It's already quite a crowd. Thanks everyone for joining. Please also add items to the agenda if they have not been added yet. We already have quite a packed agenda. The idea is to have a bi-weekly meeting, and we will switch in the future from 1 week or from one instance that it's also be for APEC friendly times. This will also, you should be able to change the modes because everyone can change the notes. You not just need to go in the, there's a pen option in the view on top of it. I can share it, but then when I share it, it's in German. So basically, when you open the notes document, you potentially only see it like this, and then there is on top of this the possibility to say edit, and then you can edit it, or you can also have it side by side. The reason why we do this and why we don't do Google Docs is we don't want to exclude folks who might not be able to access Google Docs in this. Let's do a really... Ich habe dich nicht verstanden. And my Google Home starts talking to me. Let's do a really quick round of introductions. Hi, I'm Mario Falan. I am one of the co-chairs for the Tech Operational Resilience. And we have also a couple of other of our chairs and also tech leads in this call. Anyone else wants to introduce themselves?
I'll go first, second. My name is Rafa Brito. I work for Stormforge. It's an optimization Kubernetes company startup. Was elected as a co-chair for 1 year for this tag. And I'm really looking forward to work with you all. And we learn as we go.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Sayam Pathak, and I'm also one of the co-chairs for the TAG Operational Resilience. Previously, I was part of TAG Sustainability, and I work as a principal developer advocate at Loft Labs, and happy to be part of this particular group. And already we have so many attendees and a packed agenda for the first meeting. So really excited to start things this way.
All right.
Hi, my name is Matt. I'm one of the tech leads for the tag. I'm excited about all the cool things that we can do moving forward if we energize and activate and engage with our community. Previously to this, I was the co-chair for tag observability.
Hey, my name is Raffaele. I'm also one of the leads. I'm very happy to be part of this team. I work for Red Hat.
Hey everyone, I'm Nabarun. I am also one of the tech leads of Tag Operational Resilience. I work at Broadcom. I basically work on the Kubernetes distribution over there, and I have been contributing to Kubernetes for the last 6 or 7 years and have been a Kubernetes steering committee member earlier.
I'll go next. So I'm Natan. I'm one of the maintainers of HolmesGPT that's presenting today as part of the CNCF Sandbox. And I'm also a co-founder at a startup called Robusta that is involved in maintaining that project.
All right. Anyone else? This is totally optional. You're also happy, or you're also invited to just lurk. Gosh, my English it's too late. All right. Going once, going twice, going thrice. Then
Also give an introduction.
Yes.
Yeah, well, kind of just lurking for today, but hi, I'm Julia. I work on the Azure Kubernetes Service team at Microsoft, focusing mainly on the observability and troubleshooting experiences, and here to help out with the HolmesGPT presentation as well. We've been working closely with the Robusta team on the open source HolmesGPT project, specifically for AI-powered troubleshooting.
All right, then let's quickly jump into the charter, and so we created a draft pull request for the charter. Let me quickly pull it up and put it into the notes. I will also put it in the chat. So where we basically the leads talked internally to have a draft charter created for the responsibilities and the coordination and success criteria for the tag. We invite basically everyone to have a look at this and also to add it potentially to the, or add some comments, add some remarks to the charter. So yeah, any feedback is welcome there. I think we are currently the first ones who release the charter in a draft PR from all of the tags. So happy to get any feedback on this. If there is nothing urgent with this, I would basically hand it over to the HolmesGPT folks to start their presentation, and I will stop my sharing. And thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Should I just jump right into it, or okay, yeah. So good to see some friendly faces as well. And so what I'll do is I'll walk through a little bit in some very brief slides, but Please stop me as we go, ask questions. You could just speak up or raise your hand on Zoom. I always enjoy more of a discussion than just presenting. I'll give a short demo. We'll go through questions. I also filled out in advance the self-assessment form and a bunch of the questions there. But hope it'll be interesting, and please ask questions. Okay, so what is HolmesGPT? Can you see my it doesn't show me your
Yes,
screen.
we
Can
can
you
see your
the correct
desktop.
screen with my slides?
And now we can just see your Zoom is requesting access. So you
Okay,
saw
I
your
see.
whole desktop.
That's fine. Okay, I can fix that now. Okay,
Yeah, now we
perfect.
see the slides. Yeah, great.
Okay, cool. So HolmesGPT is an AI agent for troubleshooting cloud-native problems and alerts. So there's two main scenarios that we support. The first is a user has an alert from a system like Prometheus or any other alerting source, and they want to essentially find out why is a specific Prometheus alert firing. So that's like a really structured flow. You're taking in structured data in the form of Prometheus alert or a JSON blob or some other structured incident. And then you're running a root cause analysis on that, and you're returning back to the user information on why that alert is firing and correlated observability data. The second flow is a same exact engine, but more of a free text flow. So a user doesn't necessarily have a specific alert, but they can come and they can say something like, what's wrong with networking in my Kubernetes cluster? Why isn't this application working? And they can ask free text questions and then get back an answer to that based on all of their observability data. So to do this, of course, this uses large language models, and we connect that to a bunch of different data sources, built-in data sources, MCP data sources, a whole bunch of other stuff, and then do that under the hood to give the user, at the end of the day, a good, high-quality result from that AI agent. The output would typically be, here are the logs, traces, other data. Here's an analysis and possible causes. And then for clients that support it, here's like some graphs and related evidence to show you exactly what is going on there. I'll stop for a second if there are questions so far. I probably should have added this. I'll go over to the demo in a second. I probably should have added this up front, but I forgot. So just on the current maintainers. HolmesGPT started as an open source project from the company I work for, Robusta. And then we were privileged and honored to be joined as well by Microsoft, who is also on the call today, who is contributing and has official maintainer status on the project as well, and is looking at this for Azure Kubernetes service use cases. So we already have multiple vendors involved in the project, and more than that I haven't listed themselves publicly, so I won't do so. But we're honored and privileged to have a growing community around this as well, and with people already using this in production to troubleshoot others in their environment and really reduce the toil around on-call. So let me just jump right into a demo, and then after that, we'll go through and I'll walk through a bunch of the different features. So I'm going to give a demo here just with the CLI. We'll speak also about different clients later. So here's a list of the built-in data sources. It's picked up on a bunch of different data sources that are available in my environment. So it's going to be looking at Kubernetes data. It's going to be looking at Helm data. Has some ability to run some bash commands. I haven't connected this to Grafana, or I haven't connected this here to Prometheus, but I can connect this to a whole bunch of built-in data sources and then tap those during an investigation. Let me start by asking a question. And I'm going to ask a question here about a microservice running in a Kubernetes environment. What is wrong with Web API? And you can see that it's going off, it's fetching information, found the microservice, then it's looking at that, describing it, and fetching logs. In this case, the logs are coming from Kubernetes itself. If my logs were here in Loki, it would query Loki, bringing the logs from the appropriate data source. And then here I get a response, okay, this is crashing due to missing environment variable. I want to see the data that into that, so I'll just hit here /output. And I can see here the logs and the observability data that was fetched that actually supported that conclusion. There's not more to this, but this is a very basic overview of what is going on here. And I think it's a good time to stop again to see if there are any questions. Okay, so then
I have one question. So
yes.
you said that this is an LLM, right? Are you connected to an external LLM, or are you also running the LLM locally?
Fantastic question. So we use a library called Light LLM. So Light LLM provides an abstraction layer across many different large language models. So we use this to give our users the ability to choose a large language model of their choice. If I jump over to our docs for a second, then we provide documentation here on how to connect this to a bunch of different providers, including ones that you can run locally.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Yes, I'm not sure if Matt or Mario had your hand up first. It was a very close race.
Mario
But I'll
did.
go with Matt. Oh, Mario? Okay, Mario, you
Yeah,
first.
one question with Light LLM. Is Light LLM also an open source project if you integrated it? And what's the license of Light LLM?
Light LLM is an open source project. And let me check. We checked the license at the time. Let me just verify here on this. This is MIT license. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Matt.
I'm curious, and if I'm jumping the gun, just tell me so, and we'll wait till further slides. But does the HolmesGPT project have in its roadmap as a goal to produce or create or train a model that can be run locally or that's tailored to this particular task, you know, as a more differentiated or even a potentially smaller model? And part of this is twofold. One, you know, just what's the future? But one of the things around the CNCF and cloud native projects is that they are cloud native and they are easy to run anywhere locally or otherwise, right? As just a general precept. So I wonder if you might comment there or tell me it's coming later. That's cool too. And nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us on this first meeting of our tag. So this is
Oh, it's a pleasure and an honor. And I should have covered that actually in later, but I didn't put it in. So I'll take the question. So I'll answer it now. So there's to get good quality like answers, or let me speak first about the challenges. If you just throw like a lot of this at a large language model, one of the first challenges that you're going to get is with context windows. And limited context windows are especially damaging when it comes to observability data. Like if you think about feeding in observability data, in like a whole bunch of logs for an application, you might end up completely missing the important part in those logs because it got cut off from the context window and it wasn't seen by the LLM. So there's a lot of work that we're doing around how we take like very big high amounts of context and then reduce that to much smaller context windows. One of the things that I believe the Microsoft team is currently working on is using very fast LLMs for summarization. So you can imagine that you have a slower LLM that's more powerful that drives most of the investigation, but then you have a very fast LLM that's able to summarize the data and then reduce the scope of the data that's being fed in. I'm optimistic that a lot of the work that we're doing there will down the road also lead to using less powerful LLMs in general and to having different LLMs there for different purposes. So I don't know that we have a good enough of a solution yet today, because while we support stuff like LLM, then we can bring OLAM and others. I know that the quality on that is not yet where we would like that to be. But I think as we do more and more of that work, like architecturally in Holmes to handle very large amounts of data, I think there will actually be benefits there that also transfer to our ability to run on low-end software.
Thanks.
Okay, so let me speak just a little bit about a few other features here as well. So one is alerting on-call and ITSM integrations. In this demo here, I just showed a free text question. I could point this actually at a Prometheus URL and then say fetch every single Prometheus alert that is currently firing and run this investigation automatically on each of those alerts or on a subset of those alerts. I could point at PagerDuty and say, fetch a PagerDuty incident, and then run an investigation on this. So you can start kind of kick off the investigation from a specific alert or incident that is currently firing as well. And then the whole investigation is guided to really find the root cause of that alert or incident. We also have here, just on the ITSM side, like what matters to a lot of our users is not just saying why is something happening, but what were the changes that caused this item to occur? So being able to tap into different data sources here that the user provides for where they have change data, if that's looking at like change tickets, if that's looking at other sources of changes in their environment, then we're able to actually give them that causal analysis and say, okay, this problem is happening because of this change that someone made. We have a whole bunch of data sources built in, and of course support MCP servers for users to bring their own data sources. And then I think two other things I want to touch on here is one, the runbook mechanism that is incredibly important to getting good high quality results as well, is that we have built into Holmes runbooks covering a few different common scenarios. For example, if there's a DNS or a networking issue within your cluster, then that would automatically activate a runbook that has very specific instructions for troubleshooting network-related problems. And then the entire investigation would be guided according to that. And users can bring their own runbooks as well in order to impact the way these investigations are run. So over time, we're building out a very big, large catalog, or we will be building out a very big, large catalog of runbooks for troubleshooting all sorts of common scenarios. And then those runbooks will automatically be activated and drive the investigation whenever the agent sees some of the symptoms that are related to that runbook. And finally, in addition to the CLI, there's an HTTP API, and all this information is available as well for other applications to integrate with, either over HTTP API or we have a Python SDK. That is also something that's been really important to a lot of our users and a lot of our partners on baking this intelligence into their own tooling, into their own platforms. We have people looking at putting this into their internal developer platform, for example, whether that's on Backstage or other platforms. So being able to use this kind of as root cause analysis as a service over HTTP has proved also to be very important to a lot of the end users. Okay, this is just the last slide I have here. And then I filled in the questionnaire. I don't know if it's worth going over that explicitly. Maybe if people just want to ask questions, feel free. But after this one slide, I think from my perspective at least, I'm happy to dedicate the rest of it, the time here, just to answering any questions. Of course, I know there are other items on the agenda today as well. So just on the architecture, so the core agent itself runs as a lightweight Python tool that can be installed locally or installed in cluster. You install it in a Kubernetes cluster. There's a built-in Helm chart that wraps that and then exposes as well an HTTP API. You can run that as a CLI tool. You can, of course, connect to that via different clients or via the SDK. And then this goes off and has a whole bunch of different data sources. So one is data sources for observability data. Another is data sources kind of for ephemeral data that isn't necessarily being persisted, but being able to bring in live infrastructure information from your cloud provider or from Kubernetes. Being able to query knowledge sources, whether it's in Confluence or look at the runbooks catalog, being able to look at MCP servers. And then this is still in alpha, but also the ability to go off and open pull requests to remediate some of these problems. A big part of the design and the architecture here is that everything has to be fundamentally and inherently safe. So the tool does not have read access to any information. Of course, respects RBAC permissions. It only has access to limited set of tools that we know are safe for the LLM to control. So the way that we handle remediation is by allowing the tool, if the user enables it, to open up a pull request. And then if you open up a pull request, then that can be reviewed by a human as well, and then merged if the fix is appropriate. So that's a quick overview of the architecture. I would also, yeah, go ahead, please.
It's a curiosity. It doesn't seem that the agent has the ability to go and search the web. Is that a by design choice?
No, so it has one built-in tool for looking at the internet.
Okay, so just not represented here. Okay.
Yeah, we have a list of all the data sources here on in the documentation. So we have the internet tool here listed here as well. It's it's a shortcoming on my side in building the slides.
No, that's fine. I just was just wondering if it was a security feature or something like that. Thank you.
No problem. Yes, Matt.
I have a couple of questions that are technical, so I'll start with those since you just showed us the architecture, but I also have two questions that I almost ask every project that's applying for Sandbox or that is introducing themselves in the past and a previous tag that I found were constructive and useful. The first, I guess, if we go most recent first, regarding the web tool you mentioned and any other kind of built-in tools, do you make a distinction in your project's code base between integrations via MCP for those things as well as built-in tools, or is it just everything is an MCP if you need to do things like query the web or do other things, access the database, etc.?
Okay, so we do have a distinction. This is primarily for because we actually started the project before the MCP protocol was released.
Context protocol, yeah.
I think had we done it today, we might have only started from building everything as MCPs. But we do actually find that that's actually probably not true. So one thing, so I should add one thing that we do. Now that I'm thinking of this, actually we probably would not just go with MCP, because one thing that's important for us is to make it also as easy as possible for users to add their own tooling and to hook this up to their own data sources. So one way that we do that is we just let them give CLI commands that are templated. So I'll show you an example of that.
So is the implication that the CLI tool doesn't have access to the tools? Like, in other words, are the MCP block there? Is that a user configurable, bring your own MCP, or does the project come bundled and use MCP in the future, like out of the box?
No, so the user brings their own MCP.
Okay.
We will probably have MCPs that are provided out of the box in the future as well. That's pretty likely. And then the other way that we let users extend this, which is why I wanted to call out that's important, is it's actually a little bit more lightweight than connecting the MCP. Users can say, like, I would like HolmesGPT to be able to look up any Kubernetes resource by name. And then all they do is they provide a templated command, and they provide a templated bash command. And then this is automatically converted to a tool that is available. You could think of it almost as being converted in MCP-like format. And then the user is able to provide a tool, even if all they know is how to just provide a templated bash command for this.
Okay. Great. I have a couple of questions. I'll try to go fast. Some of them I wrote before you showed the architecture diagram. But does HolmesGPT use things like memory or GraphRag, the Microsoft project, or even some sort of retrieval augmented generation? And does it or does it have any other custom data stores or state that it keeps as it is being used, either to remember previous conversations or to monitor the cluster and build up an understanding? I'm just trying to understand, like, where does state lie in this, and is it more of a stateless application that's all about this one prompt plus whatever it can augment the context with, right? Is there?
Yes, good question. So the primary mechanism there is the runbooks mechanism, and using runbooks to capture like exactly the best steps for troubleshooting a specific scenario. So if I bring up, like, as an example, I wanna bring up an example here on the DNS troubleshooting instructions.
Right. While you're bringing up, a runbook codifies like a workflow, but I guess what I'm saying is there like a persistent volume as part of this, or is there any other kind of state that HolmesGPT keeps as it's running so that over time it becomes more and more?
No, so the system itself is stateless.
Okay.
We're looking at two ways to kind of enhance that. One is to, when you're doing an investigation, then allowing that to feed back into the runbooks that are stored over time. So imagine you're investigating a problem the first time that problem occurs, and then you want to be able to capture that and say, like, okay, I checked these 5 things. Next time this occurs, I
Right.
go off
Like this team has a workload and it frequently falls over like this. So you end up building like, so runbooks are the mechanism to capture that more specific, either domain or environment specific.
Exactly. So we're looking at that, doing the automatic runbook generation in the future, or allowing users even to be able to provide, like, let's say their Slack channel, or provide Jira tickets with postmortems, and then to be able to generate an initial set of runbooks based on all the historical data.
Great. In the interest of time, I have one more quick tech question, then I'm going to go back on mute because I know Henrik's been waiting. I'll withhold the other ones because they're more general project goals and community engagement questions till the end. But my last question is, what's the existing level of integration with OpenTelemetry or other forms of helping users understand how HolmesGPT itself is running or operating?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So we have something in. Let me pull that up. So a lot of it, like we extensively use what's called evals, or evaluations for like checking HolmesGPT kind of on known scenarios and then evaluating its performance. So I'm just going to pull up an example here from this. So let me take an interesting example. Let me take an example on time-based filtering, right? If a user here has a question, like, okay, how many, it's actually not quite time-based, but okay, I'll take an example. If a user asks how many pods in namespace test60 have restarted fewer than 3 times. So to be able to answer this, then it has to be able to like look at the cluster, pull in a subset of the data. You can't assume that you can just run like a naive kubectl get pods or pull in the information, because that could be way bigger in a real cluster than can fit into the context window. So then it has to pull in like data, right? A JQ query, essentially, JQ expression, and be able to translate that. So to test scenarios like this and to constantly be like pushing the boundary on what it's able to do, then we have a whole bunch of scenarios like this. Some of them that are easy and it passes today, and some of them that it's not yet able to pass, but that kind of are current always the target for improvement. And then we have observability data and telemetry that we send out, going back to your original question, that you can then use to look under the hood and understand what that's doing. So here I could see like, okay, this was the question that I got. Then it ran this tool. It ran like kubectl get pod and so on. Here are the results it got back, and you can really look into like exactly what it's doing under the hood. So we currently send this to a commercial platform called Braintrust, but we want to expand this so that like any user can get this trace at any point in time. This trace is also available to the user in the CLI itself. So like if I'm looking in the CLI, then I can understand exactly what data was gathered and like see exactly what it did under the hood. But we're looking at more ways to expose this and to send this to a wider variety of locations so that the user themselves can easily peek under the hood and understand what's happening.
Great. So it's great. Thank you for that. And just so I understand, and then you should get to Henrik because he's been waiting for, I think, 5 or 6 minutes now, because of me. You've clearly put a lot of thought into how to understand what HolmesGPT is doing and bringing that into to even surfacing it in the UI versus saying, hey, go look at this dashboard or something like that and do it all yourself. But just to be clear, are you currently instrumenting and exposing OpenTelemetry or OTLP data, via sort of standard mechanisms, and then you're using that like in a tight loop right in your product or something? Or have you built sort of a bespoke mechanism to do this tracing and integration with OTel for the binary itself is something that would have to happen in the future, or it doesn't exist now? I just want to delineate on the current state of the project in terms of its integration with OTel.
Got it. So someone else on my team wrote this, so I don't think I don't want to answer that on the spot and give a wrong answer.
Yeah, we can follow up. Cool.
I
Get
think
to Henrik.
this is fundamentally spans it, like traces and spans under the hood. I don't know if it is 100% OTel or OTel-like, but we could follow up on that afterwards. Yes, Henrik.
I have 2 questions. The first one is still, so you're collecting of the data. So it seems that the AI is tracing what it's actually doing. It seems so. Do you expose also metrics? Because having that system is also to make sure that it's healthy and it's reliable. So exposing its own observed data, so observe the observer, or how we can name that. That's my first question. And my second question would be about KAgent, because KAgent has similar type of features here and there. And I was wondering if there is any plans to make a joint collaboration, or is it going to be 2 separate projects? To understand.
Yes, fantastic questions. So I'll take them in order. On the first one, we don't today, but we should. meaning we don't expose, I don't believe we expose Prometheus metrics here today, like on the number of investigations that are running. The HTTP server is a little bit newer in some ways. We've actually used it like for a while internally, but like really starting to document that and package that up for the community is a little bit of a newer effort there. So we don't do that yet, but we absolutely should. And then going over to KAgent, so we're not using KAgent today as a runtime. I think we use KAgent and we would use KAgent as a runtime with a special dedicated troubleshooting agent built on top. We don't do that today. It may make sense down the road. It's not an immediate action items, but in terms of the focus, from what I've looked through on the KAgent Sandbox submission, and of course in our own goals, I think we differ a little bit in what we're each trying to do. KAgent, I believe, is trying to be like really the best in class for writing agents that run on Kubernetes, can access cloud native data as well, but for writing more general purpose agents as well. And what we're doing is really on a very tight loop around a question from a user about a problem in their environment and troubleshooting that, or taking in a specific alert and then finding the root cause. And then this type of stuff that you do ends up actually being really different. Like we'll eventually end up with a catalog of hundreds or thousands of runbooks, and then the ability to pull in runbooks on demand into the investigation, whereas they're building like more on different collections of agents, and you can really customize those agents more. I don't think we're ever going to let users customize the agents, but we're going to have like dedicated sub agents for very specific purposes. So we may look at them at a runtime option, but I think the project goals are a little bit different, and therefore the tech stack ends up being a little bit different as well.
Yeah, because they have a lot of playbook on how, it's not playbook, but they for troubleshooting service mesh or gateway API or networking issues or even Grafana instances. So they have a lot of already predefined sets of way of troubleshooting those components. So I thought that's why in that playbook or way of troubleshooting could be meaningful to collaborate or come on to a standardized format. So then if I'm using one or the other, I can still use existent work from the community.
I'm going to take that as an action item afterwards and look out. And I know I know some of the others on this call have also spoken to them about possible collaboration. Let me take that as an action item for afterwards, because if we could get a central source of truth on that for sharing that type of runbook, that would be really useful. And I think it could be a great shared asset. Yes, Matt.
I'll be really brief. I have two questions, and one is a natural segue. One is the same question or a similar question about K8sGPT. It's an Apache 2 project that happened last year, I believe, or a little before that. I was curious if you're collaborating with them or use them as either inspiration or there could as a suggestion. My original question was, how do you differentiate yourself from K8sGPT? But you've covered that in the architecture here. But is that on your radar as a project, as a potential partner, or it's frequently in the sandbox of the CNCF? It's common for projects to kind of collaborate, and sometimes 2 or 3 projects, might turn into a larger project that then moves forward in the future. So we want to highlight opportunities for collaboration.
I would really like to expose a sub-agent that can use K8sGPT for investigating Kubernetes problems. The architecture there is a bit different, and what they're doing is more like RAG and doing retrieval, a retrieval phase around specific objects, and then feeding that into an LLM. Whereas what we're doing is more of an agentic flow on like with iterations where initially you're actually not gathering any data at all. And then gathering data like ad hoc as you learn things in an investigation. But it would actually be really like it's worth looking at, and I would really like to look at if we can at least have an option for users who want it to use K8sGPT as a sub-agent. And then like when Holmes decides it wants to look at a Kubernetes resource, it could potentially invoke like K8sGPT to do the investigation on that.
I see. Like almost delegating that narrower use case. Thank you.
Exactly.
Then the last one, unless Mario wanted to tag on with this one. And again, I know we're watching the clock, but if you could just speak briefly before we're done about the nature of the project's governance and its community. How does somebody who watches this video engage with the project? Are you open to contributions? Do you have open meetings? Just something like that. But Mario might have had something on this topic before we move on. And that's all I had. Thank you very much.
I'm only the annoying part that will tell you it's 1 minute and then we need to jump to the other topics.
So I'll be really fast then. That's easy. So just on the governance docs, we have here a governance docs, and then we have also the maintainers docs with recommendations also for how you can get involved.
So you're an open community and you're open to contributions and new members, and they can go there. Thank you.
And
1 minute.
please,
Not even 1 minute, Mario.
please contribute. And a good contribution, I'll just call it for anyone listening. A good contribution is to take this, to try it out, and to open an issue with something you would like, a new feature you would like to add, or a bug you would like to fix. So that is always a fantastic starting point.
All right. Thank you very much. I need to be the bothering person who tells we need to switch to the next topic, because we still have 2 more topics on the agenda that we need to cover. So thank you very much for coming. Thanks for the demo. Thanks for answering all of the questions. Yes, next point is working group green reviews onboarding discussion to this tag. I know that we had there was a working group before, and I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not completely sure how working groups now work, and where they are now located, because I think for now we only have initiatives. Correct me if I'm wrong there, because this is still all in the flow. But we have someone here from working group, the previous working group. Yes, no, maybe.
So yeah, I'm kind of representing the tag sustainability over here, but
Yes.
the tag leads are not yet there. So that as per the discussion, there is this thing called a sub project. So the green reviews team and the leads are ready to be onboarded. So from their side, it's something that they want to get under the tag, under our tag. And I think there is a sub-project application that they are trying to submit. I'll just pull up the link for that. This one.
All right, then let me pull this up and share my screen. Raphael, you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right time, but I would like to propose a working group or an initiative around business continuity or disaster recovery, however we want to call it, but that space.
Is this okay? So you can basically say, I want a tag operation. Okay, so you can create like a sub-project under this, and I think the easiest way for everyone is to just fill out the application, appoint it to the parent group, which in this case would be us. And then I think the leads need to take a vote on yay or nay. So basically, I think the best way to go forward with this is create a new issue, assign it to our group. I think labels are being recreated today, so there will be a label that you can tag operational resilience leads. And then we will have a look at this and bring it up in the next meeting once the formal application is being created. Does this sound good for everyone?
Okay.
All right, then let's figure out notes. So let's put this down. create. All right. Next topic. While I am typing, reach out to Ecologist AI latest and start providing common algorithm to measure LLM energy footprint. Whoever put this in, this is your stage.
Yeah, that's me. So I started to play with this open source project, which is not under CNCF as of now. So their current model is provided to have like a sort of a wrapper on top of any LLM or LLM systems, and they are estimating the energy consumption of our prompts or image or whatever we are asking, and they're sending back the energy, the footprint on the CO2 and so on. So the algorithm is interesting. I think it could be somehow improved. So for now, I'm more on the POC phase with this solution and try to find angles where it could be improved. But my next step would like to reach out to the project and see if they will be interested to, join this tag and maybe join forces, because I think a lot of people here could have great inputs to improve that initiative. Because I think with the LLM booming and AI booming, I think we should educate our community of showing how much and expensive those agents could be in terms of energy consumptions, and avoid just throwing energy for just generating just stupid pictures. But that's my thoughts. But yeah, I want to bring that to the group. So if people have never heard about the projects, and they should check it out. And I think having them on board would be great.
To add my bit to this, I think this is a great idea, and I think this is also very valuable, especially when it comes to the topic on top of running infrastructure. Also, that's a topic there was one point where it was like, how much buckets of water do you use for generating a LinkedIn blog post or something like this by using AI. I can't remember where it was used, but I think this is especially when you can bring it down to an image comparison, so that people can actually comprehend a measurement what they are using. Because if you say like you are using X thousand kilowatts of power, that's nothing helpful. I think it should also be in a way that people can understand what they're actually doing, like with comparable sizes.
Yeah, as of now, they are providing few numbers, like a more like a non-technical user-friendly messaging about how much energy, how much meters your prompt has generated for an electric car. So, for example, an image is about 500 meters from an SUV moving. So having that to say that, you made a prompt and you were able to move your car for a kilometer, that could be.
Happy to have this. Henrik, I would ask you if you could basically ping them and try to start a discussion with them. If no one has anything against this, I think this is a valuable input, so that we can discover maybe some some benefit that we then also can put potentially into a educational paper that we can publish.
Yeah, agree.
All right, we have 6 minutes left. We have a list of existing initiatives that have been proposed, and some of them already have been accepted, as far as I know, by the TOC. I'm not sure if we still have the time to go over all of them.
Yeah, Sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, we didn't know how long we would have. This is our first meeting, but I did want to just provide in the notes some of the things that have been proposed, some over the last few months in the lead up to the tag restructuring. So many of these initiatives actually are not exclusively operational resilience. There are there are obvious adjacent tags such as security for the supply chain security initiative, but they are very much within the purview of operational resilience, for various reasons. We clearly don't have time to go through all of them. Even though I could do 15 seconds per issue and fire hose you all, I don't think that would be a good user experience. So Mario,
Matt,
I'll leave it there.
pick one. I give you one.
Sure. I would say that we should probably talk about the supply chain security one, since that's something that has a plan that's been proposed, and phase 1 of that plan is work that's already in flight. But as an example, and there's a link in the chat for anyone who didn't get their popcorn and watch the whole tag reboot process. That link is from a February Technical Oversight Committee, TOC meeting, where this organized engineering, such as initiatives and sub-projects and all of that, is laid out. So this initiative is actually would be a collaboration of sorts between the OpenSSF and the CNCF. The OpenSSF has a project called GUAC, which is the Graph for Understanding Artifact Composition. It basically builds a big labeled property graph, like you draw on a whiteboard, of things like all of the contents of SBOMs, attestations, critical vulnerabilities and exploits, CVEs, as well as attestations, Cyclone DX, and other sorts of artifact-related documentation that is assembled into a big graph, which you can then use to ask questions. So we basically are proposing in this initiative that for all projects in the CNCF, we should have a clear understanding of their construction and their internal topology, what libraries that they rely on, what dependencies they have, including transitive dependencies, and be able to query it as that's needed to both understand, the health and safety of projects. Are they vulnerable or not, particularly for incubating and graduated projects, but also just as a general resource, we should be able to understand, is the premise, how the CNCF's projects en masse are constructed. So if you scroll down, there's some pictures that might make it easier, but the Graph for Understanding Artifact Composition is a few years old now and just cut their 1.0 release last month. So the time is ripe. In the issue, we've also proposed a work plan, and we're waiting for feedback from the TOC. But when we proposed some of these initiatives a month and a half ago, Tag Security also indicated interest. And then lastly, I'll say Mario and I have attended I've been attending for some time, and Mario as well, but we've attended and talked with the GUAC project's maintainers about roadmap, and we're giving feedback in both directions. And so I think it's a collaboration versus we're just using it, because we are having as part of this initiative an open dialogue.
Yeah, to maybe jump into this, I have been a bit busy, and sorry to take away, and sorry, I will probably in a second yell at my dogs because they are running around like crazy. What I'm currently working on is I'm currently writing a way to basically generate an SBOM of the projects, or each project is generating an SBOM of all of the projects using SIFT, and then it's basically ingesting it into GUAC. I have a running GUAC instance in a service cluster that is hosted by the CNCF. Once I have validated that I can run this for larger projects, because currently, for example, the code base of Kubernetes is, let's put it this way, a little bit big to get useful data out of this. So that basically the idea is to ingest all of the projects into into the Guac instance so that you can basically say, hey, I use package XYZ, which has a vulnerability, and then you can point out, okay, all of those CNCF projects are using this very affected version of the package, so that you have like a quick overview to see where you need to fix something. And this is also aiming towards figuring out certification issue, not certification, licensing issues that we might have where we basically use a license which we are not allowed to use and stuff like this. This is currently work in progress. As soon as I have a working POC, I would be happy to get some input, because the idea is to just configure like a cron job that runs over all of the projects to say like, hey, I want to have XYZ values, like I want to have project 1, project 2, and then it creates a cron job and runs it every other week or something like this. So this depends on the amount. I mean, we have currently 210 projects that we need to run. We need to see how many releases are supported so that we basically always update it based on the releases. And I'm running out of time. So basically, yes, we are already working on this initiative. It has been acknowledged by the TOC. For whatever reason, it was moved to tech security, so we probably need to chat with them because they are not aware of this. But I think this is something that we can take for the future. For now, we are 1 minute over. I'm sorry. Thanks everyone for joining. If there are any further questions and discussions, please move them to the Tech Operational Resilience channel in the CNCF Slack. We are also happy to engage there. We will publish the new meeting times soon. I know that it is already in the calendar, but we need to figure out how we do 5-week months yet. So just join the mailing list. Thank you for being here. Any last words?
I would say that all of these initiatives are ideas that the community can engage with. If some of them interest you, we've put them here. And if you're watching this video and they sound cool or neat, or you have domain expertise and want to contribute, these are all things where contribution is requested and encouraged, and when resourced, can move forward.
All right. Good last words. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful day, evening, whatever your time zone is. See you next time. Bye-bye.